Morning, peeps. I'm back again. And honestly, what a weird 24 hours this has been. What a weird 3 days, doesn't it? When we got that Haaland injury, and then everybody was scrambling to use their wild cards, and it's like really intense. I can't remember a time when I poured like more mental energy into FPL than over the last 2 days. And then we had the deadline and you sit back in relief. It's like, oh, thank goodness for that. Within 14 minutes of the game week starting, we lose one of the key cornerstones of our wildcard team, with Gabriel hobbling off with a hamstring injury. Absolutely gutting, especially after we just had all our plans ruined by Haaland getting injured. That Haaland injury, peeps, absolutely ruined this season, absolutely ruined it. Now, everyone's got a limited budget, everyone's got the same team, and it's ridiculous, I had to get rid of Elanga and all these. That Richard III plan, peeps, absolutely superb, absolutely superb. Getting rid of Salah, getting Haaland, and everyone's like, oh, you can't get rid of Salah and all this. I've done it, got rid of him, and then what happens? He blanks. But I don't have Haaland because the little prick got himself injured. And the whole Richard III plan ended up with just a ghastly finish as the bloke himself. You know what I mean? Both plan and him ended up buried under a Leicester car park because he didn't even make the start line. I would have had Haaland, Elanga, Marmoush, all these people. Not many people would have had Marmoush. Now everybody's got him. And, people would have been taking big hits to get Haaland in because they were too scared not having him against Leicester or prematurely using a wild card. Instead, it was us that had him that ended up prematurely having to use a wild card just because the little prick got ankle tapped. And to be honest, it's had a big impact on the season. And then within 16 minutes, one of the key cornerstones of the wild card, he's off as well. Another double. And I'll tell you what, we'll see in a minute, but ridiculous. And then that little prick Saka, who people got in prematurely just because they all watched Raptor and Harry and their deadline streams. Both of them got Saka. All their audience watched it. They all got Saka. And they got a lucky tap in, They got him in prematurely. I can see why they did it. They brought him in because it saves a future transfer, and Harry would have been far thinking that I get him in now, even if he doesn't play, I get one extra transfer to use later on in the season because I don't have to transfer out Palmer to get Saka in. But he comes on, 5 minutes of being on, he gets a lucky tap in, and it's just infuriating. And you get to 94 minutes and they lose their clean sheet. I thought, at least I got Saliba. Loses his clean sheet. Rare owners on 2 bonus points. End up losing them all, get 2 points. So it's absolutely gutting, isn't it? I think most people who didn't have Salah, Saka or Elanga yesterday would have gone to bed very grumpy with FPL, wouldn't they? Be thinking of chucking the towel in, probably. But today, thankfully, was a more normal, calmer day, So we'll have a look at what's happened. I've got to say, I'm very happy with my wild card. I think if people still haven't used a wild card, you could do a lot worse than just copy my team, to be honest. Apart from Gabriel, of course. But I think the best keeper combination is Henderson and Martinez. I said this for the last couple of days because later in the season, they play each other in the FA Cup semi-final. The winners will get a double game week, so their goalkeeper will have a double game week. And they will have no fixture the following week, but the losers will. So you're guaranteeing yourself a fixture in 37 and you're guaranteeing yourself a future double game week. And there'd be nothing worse than getting to game week 37 and finding you have no keeper. So getting these two, assuming none of the little pricks get injured, which they probably will, but assuming they don't, then I think they are the best combination The only downside of it now, if you are wildcarding, is that you are probably going to want Raya, aren't you? Because you've lost Gabriel. So the natural replacement for Gabriel is Raya. Because you're still going to want double Arsenal defence, I think, even though it's probably not such a good defence without Gabriel in it, is it? So we don't know how long he's out for yet. Hopefully he returns, but I mean, it's not that far away, is it? Game week 33 or whatever it is, and they've got the Champions League. So it's very, very murky now. This is a real blow, but didn't want to happen. But the only good thing about it is everyone owns Gabriel, so it's not such a bad thing. But it is worse, I think. It is worse if you own Gabriel and Saliba than if you own Gabriel and Henderson, Gabriel and Raya. Because if you own Gabriel and Raya, you can just do Gabriel to Saliba. But for me, it's more difficult to replace Gabriel with another Arsenal defender. You know, there's not such good options, are there? Not such good options. So if you own Gabriel and Saliba, it's a bit harder to find a replacement. Well, Guardiola, let's move on to him. No attacking threat because he played in central defence. He won't do that every game, of course, but, you know, he got a clean sheet at least, so happy enough with him. Sarr, I've never had anything other than 2 points from him, so I'm not surprised I've got another 2 points from him. The only reason I've got a little prick is because he's got 2 double game weeks in a row. Otherwise, he'd be nowhere near my team, peeps. Nowhere near it. Salah, like I said, I mean, so annoying having to buy him back. And then even more annoying captaining him. But I mean, he was 80% captained and I was not prepared to take that kind of risk on, you know. So it turned out he did nothing and my Moose got a goal. But, you know, I was not prepared to take that kind of risk on. Haaland, I would have been, but not, you know, he'd have been a lot more heavily captained Haaland. It would have been like a 50-50. Whereas I wasn't going to take on 80% of the population by not captaining Salah. Savino's done very well. Hopefully he's still got his bonus points. I'm sure they'll be taken off him at some stage. But they always are. But we shall see. Isaac on 8, Mateta on 1. Mamouche obviously very good on 9. Martinez, only the 4th clean sheet, I think, that Villa have kept all season. So I'm very pleased to see that, of course. Did the right thing not starting him, I think. I mean, you wouldn't start him over Henderson, would you, really? I'll move that up a bit. Give us a bit more space. So, Murphy done all right. I think now people that are wildcarding are just going to get Murphy, aren't they? Because he got an assist. So that's how short-sighted people are. So, you know, he's a good option anyway. But really, I mean, if you were wildcarding in this week, you're not going to do much different, I think, than this team. It's just going to cost you $500,000 more. You've avoided Gabriel, obviously. And like I said, you probably are going to go Saliba and Raya. I mean, someone has to come in to replace Gabriel, don't they? I mean, we don't really know who it's going to be, really, do we, at this stage? But we don't have to worry about it yet, I think. There's no point worrying about it because we can just bench him. Now, should be a green arrow this week. Slightly red. Palmer's going to smash it. He's going to absolutely smash it, peeps. And he better do because, 1, Saka owners need punishing. 2, Jackson and Madueke are back. And Tottenham need punishing. And Palmer just needs points. You know, I'm sick of seeing everyone sell him and get away with it. He needs to get back up and get some points. That's what I want more than anything this week is Palmer points. At least 8, preferably more. But I'd be happy with 8. Even 7, would be enough for a green arrow probably. But I wanted to get something anyway. But at least now there's nothing scary for this week, is there? There's only Tottenham and Chelsea left. Nobody's got Tottenham. Nobody's got Chelsea other than Palmer. So my rank can only improve from here on in. So that's good. Sit back and enjoy that game. So we're going to have a look at the Content Creator League because I want to show you just how much this season's been ruined by Haaland's injury. Right, so this is a Content Creator League. Now we know the content creators all pick the same team anyway, but let's have a look at this. First, the chips. 9 of them, 9, all played their wild card this week. The only person who didn't play their wild card was Wag, who incidentally has only got 7 or 8 points worse than the average this week. The average is about 46, which is what I've got. Top 60 Joe, but then it's like 50 to 44. And, so Wag's done well not using a wild card, I think, because a wild card's got to be worth more than 7 or 8 points. But like we said, if you're playing your wild card now, it's not going to look much different, is it? It's just going to cost you more. So really, I think people that did wild card this week would be quite happy with the outcome, really, won't they? Apart from the Gabriel injury. But I mean, holding back just for not having that probably isn't going to compensate you for about $500,000 that you've lost waiting. So Joe was top. He's all out because of course Palmer's still to go, isn't he? But Joe's all out on 60. He'll be happy with that. He actually started Mikalenkovic against Man United, which no one else did. So, congratulations to him for doing something different at least and being rewarded by it. Because he also had a Langer. I think he's the only one that wild-carded and kept a Langer. I don't know if he knows something we don't. But he's kept 2 Forest players who probably aren't going to have a double because their fixture's likely to remain in game week 34. If they do have an unexpected double, if it's in a different week than we expect, then Joe's going to be looking even better, isn't he, here? So he kept the Langer, so he's only got 2 City players. So I suppose he got a Langer instead of Savinio. In the end, there's only 2 points between them. Or he's got Saka instead of Palmer, so Saka rewarded him as well. So Saka, Palmer, Milenkovic, Saka and Elanga, 3 relative differentials, all came in for him. So well done to him. You can't ask much more than that, can you? Or it remains to be seen what Palmer does. And I still fancy Palmer to outpoint Saka over the next 2 or 3 games. We've got Ipswich coming up. I know Ipswich won today, but that was not the normal Bournemouth side. They're obviously tired and depressed after losing to City. And it was quite a few changes in the team, wasn't there? Whereas Ipswich had a whole week to prepare, more than a week. It had feels like 6 months they've had to prepare, haven't they? Let's see. So Andy is in second with 52. He's still got Palmer. I watched some of his stream. He was thinking Henderson was a better keeper, I think. He wanted Henderson, but he was too scared not to have Minos. A lot of people were. But I think now Minos has played Southampton, I think Henderson now probably becomes a better option in that Palace defence. but we shall see. But like I said, if you are wildcarding, then you probably want to go Raya and Saliba, aren't you, really? Because it's hard to find a second Arsenal defensive option. So he's got Eze and Sarr. A lot of people here have. Now his differential was he went Evan Nielsen over Marteta. Now obviously Evan Nielsen was home to Ipswich, so that would have been quite appealing. He's had that now. Whether this continues to work going forward remains to be seen. But Palace's double's not fantastic. And, Evan Nielsen could outscore Marteta, couldn't he? Well, I think Bournemouth, I don't think we can judge them by this one game, though. Do you know what I mean? I mean, they didn't have Clivert, and a few other players would have been tired. So Harry was next with 50. He played a different team. I was watching some of his stream, was funny because he's got a much higher team value than most people. All the people watching him wanted to do what he was doing, but they couldn't afford it because he went with Saka and Foden. But I don't think many of the people watching could afford to do the same. And they were like trying to persuade him to get Savinho instead of Foden, to make themselves feel better having Savinho. But Foden didn't play, so you got Murphy off the bench. I can see why he did Saka, even though he probably knew himself that it was a bit premature. But the plan obviously is to save that future transfer, because booking in Palmer does use a transfer. But personally, I was thinking that Palmer would outscore Salah by more than 4 points over the next few weeks. Obviously, with Saka's goal and bonus points, that does bring that into question a little bit. But you can kind of put that down to luck, I think, really, today. That game. Tapping, just annoying. Right, so he's pretty much the same as everyone else other than that. But again, he's all out on 50, so I'd be hoping to overtake him with Palmer. Only 4, we're only, all this lot here, only 4 or 5 points behind with Palmer to go. Double-digit haul from Palmer would be very nice. I don't know what sort of Chelsea we're going to see. I mean, the problem is Madueke and Jackson both coming back from injury might not be quite up to speed yet. So anyway, Fabio, 46. Another Evan Nielsen owner. So that's him and Andy, both with Evan Nielsen. Everyone else the same, because everyone is the same now. This is what I'm saying. Without that Haaland injury has wrecked it, has absolutely wrecked it. And the problem is, of course, these are the best players to buy. So if you go different for the sake of it, it's not ideal. And there's very few actual alternatives, to be quite honest, because you've got to have Sri Palace, really, and you've got to have Sri Newcastle, and you've got to have your Arsenals and your Man Cities, and even Man City, there's not many ways to go. We saw that Harry got Foden, but most people can't afford Foden. And it's not easy finding that third City asset, is it? So everyone's gone Savinho, which means paid off so far. So you've seen my team already. Now Bakar has pretty much done the same as... Has he got the same team as Bloomin' Andy again? Hang on, let's have a quick look. No, I don't think Andy got Henderson, did he? Oh, he's done the same as me, so he's done well. He's gone with Henderson Martinez. I'm convinced this is the best pick, and I was so surprised that hardly anybody did it. And it was because they were all scared about going without Munoz. That's the reason why. He's going to have the same problem as me now, as in which second Arsenal defensive asset do we get? I mean, there's Ben White, who's been injured. I mean, is he going to come back in and play every game now? That Champions League, you're kind of happy with Gabriel and Saliba. But outside of that, there's going to be rotation, which is why I think those that went Gabriel and Raya are actually better off now that Gabriel's injured than those that had Gabriel and Saliba. So that's about the only thing. Evan Nielsen again. So Andy, Picard, Fabio all went Evan Nielsen, and they're analytics managers. A lot of the analytic crowd all went for João Pedro. Very few people in the analytic crowd went with Mateta. Very few. I don't know if it's expected minutes or what it was, but some went Evan Nielsen, some went João Pedro. But these guys are analytics managers pretty much. I mean, Andy will come on and ooh and ah for 2 hours about what he's going to do. But basically what he's going to do is what the analytics people do. So not as random as it sometimes appears on the streams, when he sits there, oh, don't do this or I don't want to do that. And then he just chooses the analytic choice. So now let's have a look at Mark. He must have done something exciting. Let's have a look. What's he done? What's he done, peeps? He has done the same as everybody else. Oh, he's gone triple Arsenal defence. So he's got... That's interesting, isn't it? He's gone triple Arsenal defence, which ruled him out of Saka. So he's basically ruled himself out of Saka, but he's kind of got away with it now. Because we're all going to have to sell Gabriel. And so's he. But then he can, he can do Palmer to Saka, which I'm going to have to do anyway, and all the rest of us. And then he can do Gabriel to another defender, like the rest of us have now got to do. So he's kind of, he took a bit of a risk there, didn't he, going triple Arsenal defence. Who did that earlier in the season? Someone did something, I think that was Andy, wasn't it? He went triple Arsenal defence earlier in the season and ruled him out of Saka. But then Saka got injured and he got away with it. So, same old, apart from that triple Arsenal defence. Now, he captained Marmouche. So he captained Marmouche, but he still only got the same points we all did. Because I guess he didn't have Savinho. And, what have I done here? Now, Az has done exactly the same as Mark, pretty much. He's captained Marmouche as well and didn't have Savinho. He made some comment about Savinho, and I won't repeat it, Pips. It's a bit vulgar. He's a bit vulgar sometimes, isn't he, that Az? And he made some comment on Black Box about Savinho and not scoring many goals. So they didn't get him in. So they got Marmouche. So they've just gone with the 2 City players. But again, it's all the same, isn't it? Everything the same. Wag. Now, surely Wag won't be the same. She hasn't used the wild card. What's happening, peeps? My battery's running low. Hang on. This cable. Right. Wag got 37, which is like 7 or 8 points less than the wild card is. So you can say that's a fair swap, isn't it? Not using the wild card and being 7 or 8 points worse off. So it's kind of a draw. So who did she have? She had Henderson, Kirkes. I'll tell you what, I dodged a bullet there because I did have Kirkes and Clivert in my wildcard team. And I heard that injury news about Clivert. Well, not injury news, like tired and probably won't play. So I heard that, so I took him out and got Savinio in. And I thought, well, I might as well get Kirkos out as well because they're obviously a bit beaten up. So I took Kirkos out for somebody or other. I can't even remember who. Saliba, I guess. Oh, for Saliba. But it didn't make too much difference in terms of points. And I guess if I had got Kirkos, then this week I would have just done Kirkos to Saliba, wouldn't I? I mean, no, I'd have to do Guardiola, which meant I would have had to keep Kirkos. So I probably dodged a bit of a bullet there. This should have been annoying. She had kept O'Dango, thinking he was going to start, which he did, but then he got no points. Visser got an assist. Evan Nielsen got a goal. So she hasn't done too badly and still has a wild card and can sort Gabrielle out. But again, if you are wild carding, I mean, what are you going to do different? What are you going to do different than everybody else? I guess Saka is now more appealing than he was. But the trouble is you've missed his points, haven't you? Even though he's more appealing now than he was. And Palmer does still have Ipswich. So it's still a difficult decision. Nothing much has changed, really. Although I did hear there's a few injuries that we might have to have a look at in a minute. Now, so far, Late Rise is at the bottom. He's only got 35. So who did he captain? Oh my, he's captain Palmer. So Late Rise is captain Palmer. Now, I really hope this pays off for him tomorrow because Palmer's the one player I really want points from this week. You know, he's been all those blanks we've endured. I don't want to just get rid of him without any points. And I really hope this pays off for Late Riser, this one. He must be a bit gutted because he obviously wouldn't want to captain Salah because he's playing catch-up. So he would have obviously had a good think about captaining Marmouche, but decided not to do it and captain Palmer. But I mean, Palmer could eclipse 9 points, couldn't he? I'm not optimistic he will, but he could. But captaining Palmer, that's pretty brave, isn't it, really? Especially when he's a bit of an injury doubt, isn't he? I mean, I know he's back training, but, you know, they could still manage his minutes or whatever. But hopefully it's going to pay off for him. He's got Foden as well, so he's gone a bit different than the crowd. He's got Palmer, Foden and Salah. That must have been quite hard to afford. But anyway, he's got Dorgu in there. Save a bit of money. So Foden didn't start. So Foden's definitely going to play against Man United, isn't he? So let's have a quick look at Reddit, peeps, and see what's going on there, because I think there's been a few injuries that I'm hearing about. Fantasy Scout picks didn't do too well, did they? Alisson didn't play. I don't know why Alisson didn't play. Clivert and Foden didn't play. At least they picked Milenkovic on the bench. Now, Mateta's off before 60. Are we going to see this a lot with Nketiah? In games where Palace aren't doing well, is Mateta going to be on a short leash? Is Mateta even going to get a rest? You know, we could see Nketiah start a game, couldn't we? Because, I mean, I know we think it's great that Palace have got 2 doubles, but that's an awful lot of games they have to play. So, you know, could even Saga to rest sometime. I mean, they're obviously pretty jaded against Southampton after their FA Cup exertions, and they've got a game in another few days. Rodgers off injured. Now, I don't know whether this is bad or what. Let's have a quick look at the comments, because I haven't seen this. Nothing serious, someone's saying. Slight limp and back on the pitch celebrating. Again, now, they've got a lot of fixtures, haven't they? A lot of fixtures. So any kind of doubt at all, and he is going to get a rest, isn't he? Is he going to play both games in the double game week? I think we're overestimating some of these double game week players. There was another injury I saw somewhere. Now, Palace Brighton is no longer a table bonus game, even though Palace didn't win, because it didn't change their position in the league. I mean, people are starting their Palace assistant manager this week, home to Brighton, and then the two double game weeks. But I can't bring myself to do it. Like I said before, it's great they've got 5 matches, but they haven't got a huge squad, and they've played 2 games in a week already, and they're going to be tired. They've got tough opponents. I know you can say some of their opponents might be distracted, but them themselves, is it going to catch up with them? I know they've had a good run, but I mean, they're not all that, are they? Let's be honest, So I'm just not prepared to do it. I mean, it would probably play off, it'll probably pay off for them. They'll all get wins in the 97th minute and get 20 points for their team bonus or whatever it is. Look at this prick here, look. Honestly. Is that Leicester car park? I wouldn't be surprised. You'll have a hunchback next, Honestly, peeps. Such a good plan that was too. That little prick went and ruined it. Right, people are talking about Asensio or Rashford. Again, they are not going to play both matches, are they? Unless you argue that Watkins just plays Champions League. It's possible, I guess, while they're in it. They're not going to be in it for long, probably. Let's have a look. So, here we are. Look, Eddie Howe says Isaac was withdrawn with a slight groin issue. Well, they play again in 3 days. They're another team with a double coming up. Lots of fixtures in a row. I don't know if Wilson's back or not. Let's have a look at what his injury's like. So I haven't looked yet. I don't know. Look at this prick here, look. I got Isaac and Gabriel in on the wild. Like, who didn't? Who didn't, peeps? Tell me one person who did not get Isaac and Gabriel, Gee, no wonder he supports Arsenal. It's just the kind of mentality you get from them, isn't it? I love Arsenal, really, peeps. I spent a bit of time up at Highbury Fields, and so don't switch off if you're an Arsenal supporter. Right, so let's have a look. Timber, how's Timber? Clivett as well could be injured, couldn't he? I know they said it was kind of fatigue, but I mean it's only a few more games before Bournemouth play. A few more days before Bournemouth play again. Surely Isaac's not injured, is he? Like I said, though, I mean, we've all got him, haven't we? Really. No one seems to know too much. Luckily, the double game week's not this week, because we wouldn't know, we wouldn't know, would we? And there's not really anyone else decent to captain in that double game week other than Isaac, really. Just go with a goalkeeper or something. Yeah, we're not going to find out much about that one, are we? Probably. These people going on like, oh, I've lost my Gabriel. Look, we all got him. You know what I mean? Still fucking annoying though, but I mean, look at this, peeps. He's back. They're all back. Jackson, I tell you what, they haven't half missed Jackson, Chelsea. They haven't. People were complaining about him non-stop about how useless he was, like the Chelsea crowd. But they're twice the team with Jackson in it than they are without him in it. I don't know if that's because of the manager not being adaptable or what, but they were so much better with Jackson in than without. Could we get a Liverpool defender? I don't know. They nearly won the league now, haven't they, after beating Everton? Leicester score this week, so I'm playing Livramento, I think. Look at this. Yeah, I'll tell you what, I watched that Man City match today, and they were losing 2-0, and they didn't bother coming out of their own half. I thought Van Persie was meant to be an attacking manager. And they didn't even, it's not like they've got to worry about goal difference or anything. It just didn't bother. It's like absolutely pathetic. And City couldn't be bothered either. Like they were 2-0 up. They just passed the ball around the entire second half. Didn't even bother creating many chances, really. They were just recycling it the whole time. It was absolutely pathetic. It really was. Today was the first game all season where Mo Salah failed to register more than 0.1 XG. Hopeless. Hopeless, peeps. This is why I got rid of the prick. Why did I get him back? Should I have been brave and got Saka in? I'll tell you what, Saka had been a bit more up to form. Maybe that's what you can do, peeps. If you want to be different on your wild card this week, get Saka and Salah and Palmer. Keep them. All three of them. Saka, no, I said Salah, didn't I? Saka and Palmer, and forget Salah. That's what I meant. Oh, Foden, Saka, Palmer. Get those three. You'll have untold amounts of money because you've got rid of Salah, and you can build a cracking team. Because the only week you've got to fear Salah is in game week 33 when they got Leicester. Other than that, get rid of the prick. Right, so I think, yeah, not a bad idea. I wish I'd done that myself now. But really, Saka wasn't ready. I didn't think Saka was ready. I still think he's going to get his minutes managed with the Champions League. Right, so that's about it, I think. We can't find anything else very interesting here, can we? That's what we'll do, peeps. I'm going to build you a good wildcard team if you haven't used one yet. So hang on, we'll just have a look at this week. Because you've all got Gabriel. Remove Gabriel, put him last on the bench and play Livramento. Save me a benching headache. I tell you what, there is a big benching headache this week. And that is, you're probably all in the same boat. I bet you've all got 8 good attackers, haven't you? Now, who the hell do we bench? Who the hell do we bench? Do you bench Sarr at home to Brighton? On the grounds is a little prick will only get 2 points. Do you bench Savinio, who could well not start this game? He probably will. I think he will. They're not going to throw Oscar Bob in against Man United, are they? I mean, he could get 30 minutes this week, I think, Oscar Bob. But we don't know who for. I mean, he doesn't always play in the same position as Savinio. You suspect Savinio will play against Man United because he missed the FA Cup game, so he shouldn't be too worn out. But it has to be between Sarr and Savinio. Actually, if Isaac was a bit injured, or whether Howe's making a bit of an excuse so he can rest Isaac and not get criticised if it doesn't turn out well. We don't know. But problem is, I'm all for captaining Isaac this week. And you could say the Richard III plan would have been in trouble this week if Isaac is injured, because I wouldn't have Salah. And if Haaland's a doubt, if Isaac's a doubt, I'd be really struggling to find a captain. I guess you've got to... I mean, you could captain... no, I don't think you'd captain Mamouche at Man United, would you? Any doubt about Isaac, and unfortunately, going to have to captain Salah. Fulham have been a bit rubbish lately. But, I mean, Liverpool aren't exactly flowing, are they? They're not exactly flowing. So who to bench? So if Isaac didn't play, I wouldn't be too upset, because then Savinio would come on. I don't know, Peaks, but I'll tell you what, if I was wildcarding this week, would I get rid of... No, it's difficult, isn't it? It's difficult. Because you do need a captain. So let's assume Isaac's fit, right? If Isaac's fit, you get rid of Salah, you get Saka in. This is if you're chasing and you want to be a bit different. So you get Saka in, captain Isaac. You've got 4 million in the bank. Probably go for that prick rare. And Henderson, so I didn't need to do that one. Now, how can you spend that money? 4 million. How can you spend that 4 million? It's almost impossible, isn't it? Take Savinio out. And you get Foden. What about De Bruyne? No, not De Bruyne. So you get Foden in. Palmer, Saka, Foden. And a good defender. There just aren't any. This is why everybody's got the same team. That's why everyone's got the same team. It's hardly any defenders. Take a punt. Get Cucurella in. No. This season's been ruined by Haaland because there's very little difference in attack. You know, obviously if you're wildcarding this week, you're going to get these three, aren't you? You're not going to sell Salah. It is very difficult to move away from this team that I've got myself. But if you're wildcarding this week, the only difference I think is for security of starts, you take out Martinez and bring in Raya. I don't know which one you start this week. Why is it going like that? And that's about the only difference as you're wildcarding now. Tell me what you can do to improve this wildcard, you know. I mean, you could do Palmer to Saka if you're wildcarding now. Wait and see how Palmer is against Chelsea, against Tottenham. If Palmer's rubbish against Tottenham, then take him out and replace him with Saka. If he's looking really good and back to his on form, and Chelsea looking great, then keep Palmer for the Ipswich game and then swap. But otherwise, what do? You've obviously got to not have Gabriel. So who do you have instead of Gabriel? Who do you have? I guess you have to go with someone boring like Konsa. Who really is a complete waste of space, isn't he? Be frank. I mean, you kind of have to go with that team, which is like the same as the team I've got this week. So as you're wildcarding this week, I guess a lot of people might not have take Mateta now. They're going to go with Eze, aren't they? They're going to go with Eze. So as you're wildcarding now, you need a different striker. João Pedro's a possibility. He might not even play against Palace. Jackson. No, we're not going to go there. Is Chris Wood back? I don't know if he is he? Solanke. Get Solanke. Trouble is, even Solanke has Europe as well, so he might not even play. So I think you just go with the same blooming team I've got, basically. So I can't see anything changing. The people that haven't wildcarded are going to be joining the flood of people with the same team. So nearly every active manager has now got almost an identical team. And it's not going to change, is it? We're all going to blooming bench boost in 32 or 33. We're all going to free hit the same team on 34. And then we're going to come out of 34 with pretty much similar teams. And crazy, absolutely crazy, peeps. Thank goodness I've still got my assistant manager chip. That's all I can say. Because that's about the only thing that's going to make a bit of difference, I think. And of course, you guys have got the triple captain. You better start hoping that Isaac isn't injured, because if he is, then all hell's going to break loose. Anyway, peeps, I'm off now. I've had enough. I'll tell you what, yesterday I went for a run and it felt so good. So good. I've got to get a sponsor now, haven't I? Have you seen the Scout one? Huel, whatever it's called. Ed's sitting there sponsoring the electrolyte drink. So fair play to him, peeps. At least it's not a gambling site, is it? Which is so I can't criticise him for doing that, because I was campaigning for them to advertise things other than gambling sites. So it's a funny old name for a electrolyte drink, though, isn't it? Anyway, I'm off now. I need some more downtime. I've got to recover, because that Arsenal game sent me into a blooming spin. Honestly, peeps, I had to take some medicine just to get through the day, because it was absolutely shocking yesterday, wasn't it? What a horrible start to a game week that was, seeing Gabriel go off. Well, hopefully there's no more terrible injuries, and Palmer comes through okay. Or at least with Palmer, you got an easy replacement. Not so with Gabriel, Isaac, and Rodgers if we've got him, but hopefully sounds like it's not too bad. But we shall see. Anyway, peeps, I'll talk to you all later, and we'll have a look at our team when I come back, because let's face it, we've all got the same team now, haven't we? So much as it pains me to say so, I was so looking forward to that clash between the Highlanders and the no Highlanders in game week 30. And it just didn't materialise, did it? Whether Salah and Haaland would have both blanked, we don't know. Whether Haaland would have taken Leicester to the cleaners or not, we don't know that either. We'll never know now, will we? We will never know, peeps. But I do know that if I did have Haaland, I wouldn't have had Savinho. So that's something to be thankful for, at least, isn't it? So anyway, I'll talk to you all later. And cheers for now then, peeps. And I'll tell you what, before I go, was fun. I went on to Twitter the other day. I had to go and check some messages on Twitter. And I saw some comments by Bateman. I mean, he's actually like showing the ranks of content creators on there. And he had me on there. Like, I thought, what? I'm being like classified as a content creator by him now. So I can expect to have my rank dissected now on there. So thank goodness I'm not on there, Pete. Thank goodness I'm not on there. Anyway, it was funny actually. He wrote a really funny comment on there. I miss all that sort of thing really. And he wrote a really funny comment on Twitter the other day about only in FPL would you have somebody dressed up in full military uniform delivering a podcast about fantasy football. And I thought that was funny. It was obviously talking about FPL general. And it was quite a funny comment, I thought, peeps. Anyway, I'm off now. So talk to you all later. And as Bateman would like me to say, like and subscribe. And I'll talk to you all later. Okay, so cheers for now then, peeps.